After I graduated college, I would move back home with my parents, with my dad, who is a Presbyterian minister, and my mom, who is even more Presbyterian than that. And I don't know if you guys know Presbyterians, but Presbyterians, they're pretty cool, chill, like pro-women, pro-gay Christian, like watch CNN type Christians. And so they were cool, and they didn't make me go to church with them. What they didn't know is that while they were at church, I was at home smoking weed and not believing in God for a while. It's kind of my Sunday routine. And at the time, I was dating Laura, and I had just graduated college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. That's why I was living at home. And Laura still had a year left at Carolina and Chapel Hill. And so my whole game plan was, and I told her this, like, and I thought this was like so romantic. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, but I'll just follow you wherever you go, which is like the most romantic and least sexy thing like a guy could possibly say, which I didn't know at the time. But so I was living at home. I was doing my smoking weed thing every day. And she was studying abroad in South Africa in the fall, and so I had all this free time to. That's when I started learning guitar and learning stand up, and I knew I had to pick one to like pursue as a life passion. And I love guitar, but like 22 is young to start stand-up, but that's old to start guitar for like a career. Like, you don't see like a behind the music with Eric Clapton being like, oh, and then I was living at home with me parents and saw me dad's 12-string. Like, it doesn't work that way. All right. So I was starting to do stand-up, and one Sunday morning, I'm Skyping with Laura, and she is in this noisy internet cafe in Cape Town. She's kind of having to yell, but she makes this part very clear, which was, Joe, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm cheating on you with another woman in my class, and I'm going to keep doing it. Like, we're broken up, just to be clear, which was such a crazy ride to go on for that whole sentence, basically. First, it was, I was just mad and sad and confused and maybe a little bit turned on and hopeful, but mostly sad and hurt. And I didn't really know how to take that at all. Like, I didn't know how to process that information, and the insecure side of me immediately came out. I was like, well, was the sex that bad? Was it that bad? She's like, honestly, Joe, the sex was great. It was fine. I just didn't respect you for a while. Which was like, just a lot to take in from your now lesbian, apparently, ex-girlfriend. So I was hurt, and I went into anger mode after that, and while she was still in Africa, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna rue this day that she sold Joe stock way too early, because baby, I'm learning stand-up comedy and guitar, so I'll show her. So she gets back home from studying abroad in the winter, and she invites me to a party, which I mistook as like a real invitation and not like a courtesy invitation. And I show up ready to win her back with my guitar in my hand, thinking 3 months into guitar, I was ready to be the party guitar guy. I thought, and it's one thing to suffer under your delusions of grandeur. It's another thing to make everybody else suffer under your delusions. And if you ever need to disperse of a riot, just have a white dude play an unqualified version of Landslide. Shit will clear right out. So we didn't get back together, and that's when I knew I could do anything with my life. And so that's when I decided I would move to LA, because my best friend already lived here, stand up, etc. And so I decided to move, and I wanted to tell my parents that I didn't believe in God before I left, so they didn't think LA had changed me or corrupted me. Like, no, it's just the internet, guys, that's all. And by the way, I hate to spoil it, but clearly this is the lie, because we all know God's real, y'all. That's the real lie of this whole thing. Yeah, anyway. So I wanted to tell my parents, and I didn't know how, and I was actually driving my dad home. I forgot this part. I was driving my dad home from a Father's Day celebratory meal. It wasn't even on Father's Day. It's a long story, but it was on this meal, and I was just driving. And he was in the passenger seat, and I couldn't look at him, and I was just like, Dad, I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't believe in God, and I'm going to keep not believing in God for a while. And I could just feel him being destroyed by that. And I looked over at him. He was crying, and he was hurt, and he was confused. He didn't know what was going on. And that's when I realized, like, oh my God, I'm my dad's lesbian ex-girlfriend now. And at that moment, I kind of got where Laura was coming from, and I got that it wasn't personal. She just was being who she needed to be, and I needed to be who I was, which was definitely not the party guitar guy, for sure. Thank you.
you.